The Pittsburgh Steelers are putting extreme pressure on the San Francisco 49ers to get a Brandon Aiyuk deal done, as new reports have come out that the Pittsburgh Steelers are just waiting on the final word for 49ers because a deal is already in place. So, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like the video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, apparently, they already have a deal in place for Brandon Aiyuk. They are not budging. They have the amount of money that they want to pay Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk has basically signed off on it. And now the pressure is on the 49ers. Are they going to match Steelers' contract offer and offer the exact same amount to Brandon Aiyuk? Or are they just going to accept the Steelers' deal? Because we all know Brandon Aiyuk has already said, basically, no to the Patriots, no to the Cleveland Browns offer, and the Steelers are the only ones left. So, just to kind of go through all the reports that happened this morning, all these reports I'm about to read to you are by Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, and it was done today. So, just looking at the updates on the Brandon Aiyuk situation that Ian Rappaport said, he said the Steelers and the 49ers have a deal on a potential trade, and Pittsburgh is in a good place on an Aiyuk contract, sources say. If San Francisco gives the final sign-off, it's done. San Francisco has an offer out to Aiyuk on a long-term deal for him to stay. He hasn't accepted. Also, looking at NFL insider Mike Garafolo on his actual TV show on NFL Network yesterday, he said basically the exact same thing. He said that if the 49ers sign off on this trade, it will happen within minutes because the deal is already on the table. They just need to accept it. They just need to say yes, or they just need to sign Brandon Aiyuk. It's either one. So it's really only two paths for the 49ers, and this is putting extreme pressure on them because the season is right around the corner, and Brandon Aiyuk, more than likely, he'll just sit out games. And we all know what that does. That happened to Le'Veon Bell, and his kind of worth went down so much. And if Brandon Aiyuk is willing to sit out games, why would the Steelers even higher their offer? If anything, they would lower their offer because then the 49ers will be in extreme pressure to get something done if he starts missing games, especially because he's a free agent next season. So if anything, this puts even more pressure on the 49ers. Also, looking at another report by NFL insider Diana Rossini, I believe of ESPN, she said this. She said that the Steelers have been waiting for days to hear from the San Francisco 49ers on a possible trade for Brandon Aiyuk. The Steelers are just in wait and see mode. So apparently what this basically means, just to follow up on Ian Rappaport's report, basically the Steelers have had this offer on the table for a long time now, for days. And they're just waiting on the 49ers to either accept it or hire their offer to Brandon Aiyuk on a contract situation. And what you could basically get out of this report is probably the Steelers leaked to the insiders, leaked to Ian Rappaport, leaked to whoever, saying this. Basically, the deal's in place, we're just waiting. It's basically the Steelers' way of saying to everyone involved, I would think, hey, pick the two options. Pick one of the two options. We're done waiting. We're not getting a response back from you on this trade. Diana Rossini said the Steelers have been waiting for days. So the Steelers have probably leaked to the media, leaked to the reporters, saying, hey, we've been waiting for this long. We still haven't heard back. Pick an option. The pressure is on you. Pick an option. Is it the option of making the trade, or is it the option that you're going to sign to a contract? Pick an option. We're done waiting on this situation. And to be honest, this is a really good thing. Even if the Steelers aren't the one who leaked it, and the NFL reporters just got this information, I guess, out of thin air, but someone had to have leaked it. But anyway, having this being reported today is a really good sign because it does put that extra pressure on the 49ers because now everyone knows what's going on. We all know Brandon Aiyuk doesn't want to go to any other team other than Washington Commanders or Pittsburgh Steelers or the 49ers. He's already made that completely, extremely kind of in the open. He said that multiple times. He said that in his Instagram. He said that in multiple interviews. So obviously we know where he wants to go. We know the only team that has offered him what he wanted is the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know the Pittsburgh Steelers want to have him on the team. Mike Tomlin in his interview basically hinted at it in the Brandon Aiyuk situation. I made a video on it a few days ago or last week, basically saying that, hey, Mike Tomlin is making jokes about receiving phone calls from the Los Angeles area, the San Francisco area, whatever. So we already know Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they want to get the deal done. We all know what they're willing to give up. We know the contract that he wants. Apparently, it's also been reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers are offering somewhere in the near $28 million area, plus obviously draft picks, because that's what they would have to give up. But $28 million is his contract extension per year. But we all know what the Pittsburgh Steelers are willing to do. We all know who they have on their roster right now, and they need a wide receiver number 2. So let's just go through or wide receiver number 1, because Brandon Aiyuk would be the wide receiver 1, and then George Pickens would be the number 2, or 1A, 1B type situation. So now just look at Brandon Aiyuk's situation and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just say a deal does get done. What would be the contract offer? Like I said, $28 million, probably over 4 years, $28 million per year, so whatever that equals out to. And then you look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers would have to give up. What would the Steelers be giving up in this situation? Well, it's been reported the last few days that the 49ers have wanted the Steelers to include either Minkah Fitzpatrick, Alex Highsmith, wanted maybe Pat Freiermuth. Those have been the names coming up that apparently the 49ers have asked, are you willing to give up one of these players alongside a draft pick for Brandon Aiyuk? And that's where the doors have been shut. That's when the Steelers have said no. We're not switching the contract. Then we're not switching the trade details. We have this trade offer in place. Either accept it or sign Brandon Aiyuk. You have 2 options. Either make this trade. You have no leverage here. Either sign him or accept this trade that we already offered you. And Omar Khan is not going to get fleeced. He's not going to get fleeced, and that's a good sign that he's not budging. Steelers GM knows the situation. He knows that the 49ers have all the pressure on them. He doesn't have to budge on his offer. So either accept it or don't accept it. So what would the Steelers be offering if they're not going to throw in one of those guys? Well, apparently the Steelers don't even want to throw in any of their players. They don't want to put any player in the trade. So what would it be? Apparently a first-round draft pick is also not in the works. The Steelers have not offered a first-round draft pick. That could be, these reports could all be made up, but this has been the reports over the last week or so, that no first-round draft pick has been offered by the Steelers. So what would it be? It would probably be a second this season in this upcoming draft, a second, and then a third-round pick in the next year's draft. So that would probably be the the trade offer that Pittsburgh Steelers have offered. So I would guess. Now, from an outside or fan perspective, you could be looking at that. Is that fair for the 49ers? I believe that's fair for the 49ers. I believe getting a second and a third for Brandon Aiyuk when you don't want him anymore, and he's obviously made it clear that he doesn't want to be there anymore, and now it's just drama. Yes, that's a good deal for the 49ers. And getting a player like Minkah Fitzpatrick plus a second, that would just be overpriced for Brandon Aiyuk. They want a receiver back for Brandon Aiyuk apparently as well as a draft pick. Just say George Pickens, for example, and a draft pick. Who do they really think Brandon Aiyuk is in terms of a top tier player? If we're being honest about this situation, yes, Brandon Aiyuk is a top tier player, but he was only a top tier player for 1 season. He could continue this success, don't get me wrong, but he's just really been a top tier player for 1 season. The year before that, he was in the doghouse, per se, of Kyle Shanahan, where he wasn't really playing as much. So he has openly said that he was in the doghouse as well. So when you look at the situation, Brandon Aiyuk has been a top tier player for 1 season. Is that 1 season really going to make him worth George Pickens plus a draft pick, Minkah Fitzpatrick plus a draft pick? No. So the trade of a second and a third round draft pick is actually generous, I believe, for Brandon Aiyuk, because you still would have to pay him close to $30 million per year. Now you look from a Steelers perspective. Is it worth it to give up those draft picks? In my eyes, would I do it? Probably not, because when you look at the Arthur Smith offense and how it's ran, most of the time, they like running the ball. But yes, they do have 2 receivers on the field sometimes, 3 receivers on the field sometimes. But most of the time, it's usually working out of just a 1 receiver set and then tight ends on the field. So they would have to decide, would Brandon Aiyuk be on the field or George Pickens be on the field in those certain situations? Obviously, it would be amazing to have both receivers, Brandon Aiyuk, George Pickens on the team, of course. But will it be worth it down the road if you're not going to win a Super Bowl? In my eyes, maybe, maybe not, but that's up to the Steelers to decide. So you look at this, you look at the Steelers, they would have to give up $30 million per year. Draft compensation, is it worth it? Well, you let me know down in the comments below. Would you do it? At this point, I'm basically just rambling on the situation, so I'm going to just end this video like this. Would you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to trade for Brandon Aiyuk? Or do you think it would be giving up too much and you don't want them to do it? You think they're fine? And also let me know your thoughts in the comments below on the reports that have come out today and the pressure that is now put on the 49ers because of it. Pick two options. Pick between the two options. That's what the Steelers have basically said with this leak. Anyway, that's the end of this video, but make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, everything like that. I've covered everything Pittsburgh Steelers, even rumors and just new things that come out like this. I cover all to keep you updated with everything going on around the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you like Pittsburgh Steelers news and everything like that, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.